Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, known to the world as Mahatma Gandhi, was born in 1869 in a small coastal town in India called Porbandar. He came from an ordinary family, and nothing in his childhood clearly suggested that he would one day become one of the most influential figures in world history. He was a shy and quiet boy, not especially outstanding at school, often doubting himself and struggling with confidence. Yet it was precisely this inner struggle that later shaped his philosophy and strength. Gandhi's life became a journey of self-discovery, moral courage, and an unshakable belief in truth and non-violence. As a young man, Gandhi traveled to England to study law. Living in a foreign country was difficult for him, as he felt torn between Indian traditions and Western culture. He experimented with new ideas, read widely, and developed a strong interest in ethics, religion, and philosophy. During this time, he began forming the principles that would guide his entire life: self-discipline, simplicity, and respect for all living beings. However, it was not in England, but in South Africa, that Gandhi truly found his purpose. After completing his studies, Gandhi accepted a legal job in South Africa, where he was shocked by the deep racism and injustice faced by Indians and other non-European people. One defining moment occurred when he was thrown off a train despite having a valid first-class ticket, simply because of the color of his skin. Instead of responding with violence or hatred, Gandhi chose a different path. That experience awakened him to the power of resistance rooted in dignity rather than aggression. In South Africa, he began organizing the Indian community, leading campaigns against discriminatory laws and developing his philosophy of non-violent resistance, which he later called Satyagraha, meaning truth force. Satyagraha was more than passive resistance. It required immense courage, discipline, and moral strength. Gandhi believed that injustice could be defeated by appealing to the conscience of the oppressor, not by destroying them. This idea was revolutionary at a time when political change was often achieved through war and violence. Gandhi proved that non-violence was not a sign of weakness, but an act of profound bravery. When Gandhi returned to India in 1915, he found a nation suffering under British colonial rule. Millions of people lived in poverty, denied political rights, and treated as second-class citizens in their own land. Gandhi traveled across the country, living among farmers and workers, listening to their struggles and adopting their simple lifestyle. He dressed in plain clothing, spun his own cloth, and rejected luxury, believing that a leader must live like the poorest people they represent. Under Gandhi's leadership, the Indian independence movement transformed into a mass movement. He organized nationwide protests, strikes, and boycotts of British goods, encouraging Indians to rely on their own labor and resources. One of the most famous acts of protest was the Salt March of 1930. British law forbade Indians from making their own salt, forcing them to buy it from the colonial government. Gandhi led thousands of people on a long march to the sea, where he symbolically picked up salt from the shore. This simple act inspired millions and exposed the injustice of colonial rule to the world. The British authorities repeatedly imprisoned Gandhi, hoping to silence him. Yet each arrest only strengthened his influence. Even in prison, he remained committed to peace, often using hunger strikes to protest violence or injustice. These fasts were deeply personal sacrifices, meant to awaken moral responsibility in others rather than to manipulate or threaten. Gandhi's willingness to suffer for his principles earned him enormous respect, even among his opponents. However, Gandhi's vision extended beyond independence. He believed that true freedom required social change as well. He fought against discrimination within Indian society, particularly the caste system, and worked to improve the status of the poorest and most marginalized groups. He promoted religious tolerance, insisting that Hindus, Muslims, Christians, and people of all faiths could and must live together peacefully. For Gandhi, freedom without unity and compassion was incomplete. The path to independence was not easy, and it was marked by deep divisions and violent conflicts. As independence approached, tensions between religious communities intensified, leading to the tragic partition of India and Pakistan in 1947. This period was one of the most painful chapters of Gandhi's life. Despite his lifelong commitment to peace, he witnessed widespread violence and suffering. He traveled tirelessly to calm tensions, fasting and pleading for unity. Even when his efforts seemed powerless against hatred and fear, India finally gained independence in 1947. But Gandhi did not celebrate as others did. He mourned the loss of life and the division of the land he loved. His dream was not simply a free India, but a just and compassionate one. Tragically, only months later, in 1948, Gandhi was assassinated by a man who believed Gandhi's ideas were too tolerant and threatening to his own beliefs. Gandhi died as he had lived, committed to peace until his final breath. Although his life ended, Gandhi's influence did not. His philosophy of non-violence inspired leaders and movements around the world. Martin Luther King Jr. used Gandhi's ideas during the American Civil Rights Movement. Nelson Mandela applied similar principles in the struggle against apartheid in South Africa. Countless activists, teachers, and ordinary people have drawn strength from Gandhi's belief that moral integrity can change the course of history. Gandhi showed the world that one person, armed with truth, courage, and compassion, can challenge empires and transform societies. He rejected hatred, even when surrounded by injustice, and proved that lasting change begins within the human conscience. His life remains a powerful reminder that history is not only shaped by weapons and power, but by ideas, values, and the quiet determination to do what is right. If you want, I can simplify the language, adapt it for a school presentation, or adjust the length slightly to match an exact time requirement.